Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Proftrof. We're back again with another set reaction. This is a game that I love. I've played the shit out of, and I think it's one of the best RPGs ever made. Gothic 2. Okay, now what I'm gonna say about Gothic 2 is this: it has the best skill progression out of any RPG ever made. Ever. You start off as a bitch, you feel like a bitch, you end up as a motherfucking tank, a real like tank. That feels good.
Hey people, Seth here. Today, I'll be covering a game loved by many. A game where you go from
Whoa.
loved by many. A game where you go from nothing to being the most powerful being on the entire continent. You can fight, die, craft, beat up the poor, perform alchemy, perform intercourse with women, and even distribute sausages to monks.
Sausage is great. You have one sausage too many anyway. Namely, the one for you. And what's a sausage among friends?
I'm talking, of course, about Gothic 2, the quintessential single hero RPG. This game's got everything except a good combat system. Many have played and enjoyed.
Ouch. Ouch. I mean, he's right though. He's pretty right. The combat system is garbage. Okay, I don't know how they do it. Piranha Bytes Studios. That was a studio maker, right? Piranha Bytes. I think that's what it is. Okay, they make one of the fucking most amazing worlds. Their skill progression system is amazing. Their dialogue is. I mean, I find it amazing. You know, the world punishes you where you expect to be punished, and then punishes you again when you expect not to be punished. Game does not give a fuck about your feelings at all, bro. This game is gonna bash you, it's gonna kick you while you're there, it's gonna spit on you, it's gonna take a piss on you, and you're gonna like it. Okay? What was I gonna say? I don't know. Oh yeah, but their combat systems are always garbage. It feels like the people that make the game are a studio of its own, and then they've given the dude that makes the combat system to a fucking, I don't know, to a beggar on the street. They give him like $5 and like, hey bro, make us a combat system.
Enjoyed this game.
Especially Gothic 3's combat system, which is like the worst combat system in the gaming universe.
But
There's probably a tennis game out there with a better combat system than Gothic 3. Fuck that
To
shit.
understand the real way to play Gothic 2, it's all about picking turnips for Lobart the farmer and destroying his relationship with his wife. Every day she feeds me. Every day she slaves over a hot stove to make me soup. And every day her hot juices pour into my stomach, Lobart. You don't even eat her soup. She told me. You haven't eaten it for years, Lobart. Mark my words. You keep ignoring her like that, and in time, it'll be my hot juices pouring inside her stomach. Story. Following
Jesus.
the events of Gothic 1, you play as
Grzegorz Brzęczyszczykiewicz.
an undocumented Polish migrant who's just escaped from an all-male Polish death camp after a health and safety incident involving giant termites went sour. With a promise of adventure and a competitive European black market wage, you set out to the German city of Korinus, where you will spend the majority of your time smoking water pipes and showing German women the meaning of modesty. Much like in real life, the border guards accept European ID cards, or if you don't have that, simply a drawing of your passport. Once inside, you might be reminded that there's an overarching plot involving dragons, and how they're going to attack Germany sooner or later. But who
What the f... Seth, what is this, bro? I did not know dragons had this fat of an ass, boy.
But who really cares?
Jesus.
The dragons are more of a metaphorical plot device,
If dragons had that fat of an ass, they would never go extinct.
questioning
I'm
the
gonna tell
very
you that,
nature
bro.
of what it means to be a Polish migrant worker. As at one point in the story, you can willingly return to the Valley of Coal Mines, a literary reference to the barren wastelands of Poland. And the moment you do so, dragons will assault Korinus and burn your memories to the ground. Despair will fill your character at this point, and you'll be left questioning your motives. Why did I go back? Why didn't I stay? Sure, Lobart only paid me €5 for picking 20 turnips, but that was enough for me to buy my Zwiek and my Camel cigarettes.
Zwiek.
I was content. I was happy. Now, I'll be lucky to live to 30. Most don't even last that long, down here in the popcorn mines. Hopefully, I'll be instantly caramelized by hitting a sugar vein. Some don't have that luxury. They instead get buried alive, their lungs choking on a mountain of popcorn kernels. The story's shit. Kill some dragons, ignore it, and never leave the first map.
Oi, oi, oi! It is not shit. The story is decent. Okay.
Is Abu Jin ibn Jadir ibn Omar Khalid bin Haji al-Sharidi.
Now that we've got that aside, I can tell you about the real story of Gothic 2. Gothic 2 is really a game that's entirely about becoming unionized. No matter which choices you make or which side you pick, you will inevitably have to join a workers' union, with all the perks, benefits, and downsides that come with it. The darker aspects of unions holding a monopoly on labor also comes into play. For example, the Mages of Fire hold complete monopoly on the...
Okay, he didn't explain that well, so I'm gonna give you the backstory. In Gothic 2, just like in every other Piranha Bytes Studio game, you have to make a decision between 3 factions at the start of the game, and later on, well, at first you make a decision between 3 masters, I guess, or who you want to be an apprentice for in the first town, so that you can become a citizen. When you need to become a citizen for some story shit, it doesn't matter. One of them are like the paladins, mercenaries, and what was the other? Oh yeah, and the Mages of Fire. That's basically your choices. Mages of Fire are religious cunts that know magic and shit. Paladins are paladins, cunts in heavy armor that cast magic from time to time from scrolls or some shit. Mercenaries are basic cunts that stab people to death. You know, normal shit.
Teaching of
And
magic.
every faction has its own armor, its own weapon. Well, not really weapons, but yeah, you know,
Manipulating hundreds of young men to undergo year-long unpaid apprenticeships with a promise of obtaining union membership, during which time they work 60-hour-long weeks without compensation, only to be chewed out at the end of their apprenticeship because they don't meet the high standards the mages dictate, which are entirely arbitrary. Zardus, a magician who's not unionized with the Circle of Fire, is branded an illegal practitioner of magic because he refuses to pay extortionate guild fees, which won't ever
he's a fucking necromancer and a cunt, as you would know if you've played Gothic
be
3.
used to serve him or defend his rights in a court of law, but instead to economically enthrall the market and prevent any competition. Similarly, the militia and paladins of Carinas hold a monopoly on force. Any significant weaponry is seized. Any appropriate means of defending yourself from the hordes of orcs just across the valley is an exclusive privilege afforded to you solely through membership with this despotic union. By their nature, they don't produce any goods, so they forcibly take food and supplies from the townspeople and the surrounding farmlands. Of course, the farmers lacked any means to resist their demands. That was until the magic barrier holding in the prisoners from your Polish death camp exploded. Many of the armed convicts fled north. Spotting an opportunity to antagonize the Paladins' union, Onar, one of the major landowners in Carinas, hired the escaped men as mercenaries and broke away from Carinas. All trade was shut down, no food would come to the city, and if the Paladins dared try to collect, they'd be sent home in body bags. So, Onar and his mercenaries formed the third and final union. They have a means to defend themselves, but they also expand aggressively, coercing other farmers to join them or risk having their livestock killed and crops burnt in a series of unfortunate accidents, demonstrating the price of not being unionized. For if they successfully absorb the remaining farmers, they will hold a complete monopoly on food, and then all they have to do is wait while the rival unions starve to death inside their own walls. Video games. Gameplay. Gothic 2 uses high-octane, adrenaline-fueled design choices to bring you hard-hitting, visceral combat that requires you to click at the right times to continue the combo. You'll need a seatbelt for this experience, because you're gonna think of hanging yourself an awful lot. On the plus side, you have
That is actually true. So, okay, you have a melee, and you have a melee skill in the game with one-hand weapons or two-handed weapons. And the more skill you have, the larger your combo is, the faster it is, and you know, all that good shit, which is really cool because after you get a decent amount, you change your whole combat style. In order to combo, you have to combo at the right time. You have to click the hit button at the right time, or if you don't, your character just stands there awkwardly and you're gonna get hit, which at the start of the game most NPCs are gonna one-shot the fuck out of you, which would which could make you throw your mouse at the wall. But before you do that, think about it. How expensive is your mice? That's all I'm gonna say. Because mine was pretty expensive, and that's the only thing that stopped it from getting bashed into the wall.
An infinite
when I played this
inventory,
game.
because you'll need all that
But it's
space
very
for the turnips you'll be picking. This German RPG came out at a much simpler, more innocent time in gaming. Now look how far we've come. There are several ways of traveling in this game. One involves using your atrophied stumps, they call legs, to travel at a snail's crawl through dirt and dog shit, or you can use the most efficient method of travel, T-posing. Naturally, T-posing is the optimal shape for reducing your air resistance, allowing temporary flight
How is he
and
doing this?
propulsion. This is well documented in the Dead Sea Scrolls. One thing I really enjoyed in this game is that anyone in the shitty part of town can be attacked, and anyone's lunch money and life savings can be taken
Okay, by the way, you cannot sprint in this game, technically. You can sprint if you have a sprint potion. Which is, yes.
from them if they fail to square up and defend themselves. Naturally, attacking the elderly, the disabled, and women, who are also part of the disabled, makes for an effective strategy to make money early on. Carinas is a magical place where you can attack somebody's wife with a club and rob her unconscious while her husband cheers. For the main quest, you'll need to become a citizen of Carinas by signing on with one of the different craftsman masters of the city. However, no matter the playthrough, I find myself repeatedly signing on with a blacksmith.
There are a blacksmith, an alchemist, and a hunter. Those are your choices.
Just so I can abuse the game's mechanics by beating the absolute shit out of some guy running a bootleg smithy. You see, whenever a character performs an animation with an object, they automatically spawn that object in their inventory, or several of them. In the case of this unfortunate man, after I beat the shit out of him and rob him of all the steel he has, he'll slowly get back up and start beating red hot steel again, at which point I shank him and take this new, freshly materialized steel for myself. I will repeat this process endlessly until I forged literally hundreds of swords and sold them all to the blacksmith and made enough money to buy.
Quick FYI. What's happening here is when you hit an NPC, a friendly NPC, he falls down. He's not dead. You can finish him off though. So you see how he falls down and then gets back up? Yeah, he's not dead. He's just unconscious technically, you know. But you can kill him if you want.
Out the entire town. Truly hardcore PC gaming.
What do you want here? Go!
Oh, and to anyone saying Gothic 2 is a game for only true seasoned veterans of RPGs, you can buy a scroll within 20 minutes of starting a new playthrough that lets you transform into an invincible dragon raptor that has a duration of several years and lets you clear out the entire first map in a single day and reach half of a total level cap. So yes,
That's
please
true.
don't buy those scrolls from Ignaz the Alchemist in Carinas, whose house is right next to the shitty blacksmith around the corner to the right, because that will negatively impact your experience. They cost 200 gold, by the way. You get the one for Dragon Snapper and Shadow Beast. The game is generally pretty great. The atmosphere and sound work are fantastic, and make you feel like you've really entered the German woods or some shit. As expected, the German woods are filled with giant rats, giant birds, giant velociraptors, and worst of all, Germans. And while the sound design is pretty good and immersive, the voice acting is absolute fucking
Amazing.
garbage, at least
What?
in the English copy. Half of the people you talk to can barely even read their lines or speak human dialects, but I guess
amazing,
that's
bro.
part of the aesthetic. All of Gothic's dialogue is just one hallucinogenic porn movie daze, where all the actors sound like they're half a line away from either sucking you off or mugging you.
Are you the one who runs this place?
I am Bromo, this is my house, and these are my girls. I like my girls. And
It's
if
amazing.
you like my girls too, then you will pay for it, 50 gold pieces.
Most of the quests are pretty interesting, and will take a fuck ton of time to finish. My advice, if you're ever feeling frustrated, is to T-pose away from danger,
How is he doing
swallow
this?
your pride, and read the damn wiki, because trying to honestly find some of those microscopic quest objects will destabilize your emotional well-being
That's
and
true.
physical health. I know this because it happened in real life. In high school, one of my friends marathoned
Quick FYI. There is a quest for the Thieves Guild at some point that has you looking for some gold, for some gold chalices in the first town. And I'm just gonna say this, they're really well hidden.
Gothic for a week straight.
Fuck that
He
shit.
came back with carpal tunnel and botulism because he didn't have time to clean the mold growing on his dinner plate. And when I asked him about it, He said it was completely worth it. Final score.
As long as you are accused of theft, you can't enter the upper end of the town. Go to Lord Andre and settle the matter.
didn't warn you.
I'm a respected citizen of Corinus. Let me pass.
You are the dirt under my fingernails. Make yourself scarce.
I honestly never even leave the starting area. I just smoke water pipes and beat up the working class. I'm not even qualified to review this game. Thoroughly recommended. 10 polygons out of 10. A warm thank you to the many members of the Merchants Guild generously funding these videos. And thank you for your...
Okay, if you've not played any Gothic game and you want to play this game, I'll just have a quick warning for you. This game is gonna bully the shit out of you. And it's okay. Happens to everybody. This game is not a normal game. When you say fuck you to someone, they're gonna probably beat the shit out of you, take all your money, take your sword, and leave you on the ground. Which sucks, because then you do not have a sword. And it's okay to cry, okay? It's okay. Happens to everybody that plays this game. It's okay to cry. Anyway, that was a Gothic 2 review by Seth. It's an amazing game. You should definitely play it if you enjoy old school RPGs, new school RPGs, any RPGs. If you have a good taste, you should play this game. If you have a bad taste, you should still play this game because it's amazing. Anyway, it's your boy Proftrof. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time, everybody. Have a nice fucking day.